Welcome to Earthtide Studios. I am Zach Knight, and in today's video we are looking at 3 Quip? Welcome to Earthtide Studios. I'm Zach Knight, and in today's video we are looking at 3 quick tips for guitar production. These tips include vocoder on your guitar, chorus, and guitar slicing. We're going to be looking at 2 different productions that I've done using these techniques. It's some pretty cool and weird stuff, and I look forward to seeing what you think. Also, we have a free vocal production course that teaches you the basics of recording, editing, and mixing your vocals. If you want to grab that, you can just click the link below and it's yours. But now, let's get stuck into those guitars. First cab off the rank for these quick guitar production tips is using VocalSynth or a vocoder on your guitar. Now, we're working on a trap pop / pop kind of production that I did about halfway through last year, and I came across the idea of using VocalSynth 2 on the guitar for a kind of cool, fun effect that sat behind the main guitars. I'm going to play you the song just a little bit before the vocoders kick in, and you'll notice the guitar's going to change and sound, well, really quite a little bit different, a little bit synthy. Have a listen.
Fake love from the people I know. Fake hands, y'all. Fake it till I make it, so I pick up my guitar case. Set it down and lock down. Write 1,000 fucking hooks. Yeah, you better listen now. All our criminals.
So that's using VocalSynth 2, which we'll load up right now. This is an incredibly cool and very diverse plugin that I have been using now for about a year, and I've been finding it to be really quite incredible for vocals. But I've started experimenting and using it on different instruments as well, such as guitar. And in this case, we've set it up in sidechain mode. And when you do that, you need to make sure that you have a MIDI track that then runs through to VocalSynth 2, and make sure you select the correct track as well. So if you name your track, your MIDI track that you make for it, and specifically name it for that part, and then when you go to search for your sidechain, if you type in, vocoder git for the guitar, and in this case here we are looking for VocalSynth 2, which is the guide, and you select that. And then after that, you basically want to make sure that you actually put in all of the different MIDI that you're utilizing to guide the vocoder, if that's what you're doing for the sidechain, which is what we're doing in this particular technique. Now, I've actually picked the notes that the guitar is playing for the first 4 bars here. And as you can see, it actually doesn't kick in until the 3 there. So it waits 2 beats at the start, like this. And then finishes off the rest of that 4-bar section. And the cool thing about using VocalSynth 2 is you can really input whatever you want in it, and the guitar or whatever other instrument you're utilizing will follow. So we started off here with just following the notes. And then for this next section, we've actually built on that and added additional octaves of the same notes across the 4-bar section. So at the end, it's had this really cool 3-octave section for the last 2 bars of that same note, of that same part, which combined with the main guitar part sounds like this. And it gives it a really kind of unique, cool, and interesting characteristic for that section there. Now, that's for the guiding of the part, and obviously this is going to be down to your composition. You could use it very sparsely. You could use it and make some kind of cool stuttering effect, utilizing, different amount of notes as well, different amount of breaks between the notes there. So you could do like 16ths in between there and split them up, and then have something where you had a section that went like this. It's a little bit hard to hear with the delay that's running on it, but in essence, it would give you a sort of a kind of stuttering kind of effect on that there. looking at what VocalSynth 2 is actually doing to the guitar, I've decided to utilize the BioVox function here and push the clarity to 100%. I'm actually using the classic Barnes preset, and I've also turned on the vocoder. I'm using the Planet Galaxy preset here as well, and I've also turned on the Polyvox. I've shifted the formant up to 4. I've made the character 28 and the humanize at 22 in there as well. Now let's have a look down the bottom here. I've made sure that we're on a saw for the first oscillator and a square for the second one. Gains at 100 for both of those. And also, other than that, I've just made sure that there's a little bit of filtering on that too. Inside Polyvox, I've left the pan at about 69 to the left. There's a bit of filtering on that there. And inside the Planet Galaxy, I've actually just left it straight. Sometimes I like to have the, or 1 all the way to the 12, plus 12, and then minus 12, plus 12, minus 12, plus 12, minus 12 across the whole thing. But this time I've just left it as it is. Other than that, I've just made sure we've got some filtering again on that, and I've left everything as it is, but I've made sure that the noise isn't turned on. That's in terms of the BioVox, the vocoder, and the Polyvox. It's 100% wet mix. I've made sure the panning is down the center. I've pushed the width by 54, and I've also turned on a delay, and I've made sure that that's sitting at a quarter note. The mix is sitting at about 20, and other than that, I've got the distortion, no drive, a bit of tone, a bit of warmth. Mix on that is at 42. And then I've put the filter and I've filtered it down at 12K, resonating at 17, and that is all the way up. And then other than that, we've just made sure that there's a bit of filtering going into that beforehand, because this is just a stereo bounce of these guitars that's been affected. Then after that, I'm running CLA 2A on the electric guitar preset and compressing that this much. So about 5 dB, and I've matched the volume afterwards. And then after VocalSynth 2, I've got some unique EQ going on here. I'm filtering out all the low end up to 300, the high end past 10K, getting rid of some annoying peaks here at about 650, and boosting it at 2K and boosting it again at 4500. So this looks like this. So basically it's getting rid of all the mud, and then it's really poking it out where it's resonating better, but getting rid of this annoying sound here at 650. Other than that, we're then sending it off to an instrument delay and also to a reverb. So the instrument delay is just my classic quarter note for Echo Boy, 100% wet. We're filtering out the low and the high end a little bit there. And we've got it on studio tape there with a bit of saturation, and I've made sure that it's matched the tempo, and it's on a dual echo. And then the extra reverb that I'm running on here, or as I call it, Xverb, is the West Church preset for Waves IRL full stereo. It's a 4.8 second reverb, and it's pretty awesome, running at 100% wet, and it only has 11 milliseconds of latency on that there too. And that is also being filtered out, sitting here at 139 on the low end, just about a bit above 5K on the high end, and we're actually boosting the mid frequency there for that one. So tip number 2 for guitar production tips is chorus. It is a pretty awesome and well-used technique in pop, trap, hip hop, and a lot of other styles as well. But I'm just going to show you how you can get a bit of spread, width, and, add to the cool tone of your clean guitars in your productions. So we're going to have a listen to what this chorus, what these guitars sound like right now without chorus. As you can tell, they sound pretty cool. They're quite full. They've been EQ'd well. We've got a bit of saturation going on with them, but they also they still sound like they're lacking something, that they're not quite spread out. They don't have any really cool characteristic to them that's been added to make them special. And it's very easy to just grab yourself a chorus and do just that. So in this particular mix, I'm actually using the Steinberg Cubase stock chorus. It works super great, and It comes standard with Cubase, so it's really easy to use. You could probably get something like this from most of your DAWs anyway. So the settings that we're running on this one, we're going with 20 milliseconds delay, 7% width. I've got the rate running at 1:1. I've picked this particular sine wave. We've also got 75% mix on the spatial, 25% on the actual mix of the chorus, and I'm filtering out the low end at 50 Hertz and the high filter at 12K. So we're going to show you what it sounds like with this on for all of these tracks. And then off again. As you can see, just adding chorus to a clean guitar in this kind of production really just makes the guitar spread out. It thickens it up. It gives it that width, and it just makes the guitar sound like it belongs a lot more in the song. We'll show you in context with the mix for the whole song with and without that chorus.
What is going through your head? You want to poison like my lead. Fake love from the people I know. Fake hands, y'all. Fake it till I make it, so I pick up my guitar case.
And without.
What is going through your head? You want to poison like my lead. Fake love from the people I know. Fake hands, y'all. Fake it till I make it, so I pick up my guitar case.
So much better with the chorus. So last up, let's cut our way into tip number 3, which is guitar slicing. Now, this is a really sick technique that I love using more in alternative music, but it also does work in some more popular styles as well. This is a track that I'm actually working on for a project that I'm doing with my wife. It's pretty different style of stuff, and for now, I'm just going to show you this section of the song. The project is called Bird Night, and this song I haven't really got a name for the track as of yet. I'm going to show you the part in the song, and we're going to break down the technique that's been used here. So as you can see, there's so much going on in that particular production in all of the different parts, but the guitars themselves have got this really cool characteristic with the slicing that's going in and around that main riff. Now I'll show you the isolated sliced guitars just on their own so that we can hear what they sound like. There's a lot of different rhythmic stuff going on in there. And most of that has actually been made by taking the main guitar riff for that section. Now, it's actually got 2 different riffs here. We've got this main one that goes up until this point here, until the very last bar, where this riff is one that's actually been repeated in the song earlier that I've just brought back in again. So we're going to show you what the main riff actually sounds like. Now, this is a demo, and these guitars have not been played very well by myself, so if it doesn't sound super great, that's purely because it's a demo. But I just wanted to show you this technique so that you could, take that and hopefully you use it yourself and enjoy. So have a listen. But as you can see, it's a pretty normal kind of alternative / metalcore kind of riff. And what we've done is we've actually taken the first note from each of those sections there. And in this particular case at the start here, this is mostly just editing that's given it this effect. And then what we've done from there is we've cut out the right side for it here just before it comes in at the last section there before the second bar to give it this sort of stuttery kind of effect and sort of building up to what's going to happen for the rest of that riff there. And to achieve the actual sort of somewhat filtered electronic kind of effect that's going on here, we're using two different plugins which are actually running on both the left and right guitars. In this case, I'm using the SSL channel strip. We're using the CLA Filter Vox preset, which is right here. And then after that, I've turned off the adjustments, all of the EQ, made sure that it's running on the channel out for the dynamics. And then after that, I've pushed up the threshold, pushed the threshold to -15, made sure that the ratio for the compression is at 3, left the gate on, and it gives a kind of cool, interesting, nice kind of filter there. And that's with the SSL, and without. Really quite full sounding guitars. But the main actual filter that's really driving it there, so that's sort of giving it some filtering and some compression, but the main filter that's actually happening is using FabFilter Pro Q2. And this is quite hard. If you have a look here at what I've got going for FabFilter Pro Q2, I'm actually filtering at about 340 and also just a bit above 2.5K. And in this particular case, we're filtering at 96 dB an octave, which is a massive amount, basically as far as we can go with the plugin. Really, really, really filtering it out and basically making sure that this is almost the only section that is being heard on those tracks. And it's really giving that sort of squished sound where all of the guitars are sitting in just that small pocket there and leaving space for the rest of the dense production that's happening. Looking at the actual slicing that we've done in the song, moving past this section here, we start to move over to getting a bit more creative with the slicing. So if you listen to this section, second bar here, so what we've got going there is the riff continues here as normal, and then I've basically sliced out, and in this particular case, we're going to have a look. I think we sliced out a 30-second note on just after beat 2, and we've also sliced out the right side here and then the left side here, so it's giving us this effect. So it's got the dot that's going there within the 30-second, and then after that we've sliced out the right side first and then the left side, so it has that stuttery, but it's a stereo stuttery panning kind of effect. And then that continues on where instead of slicing out small sections here, we've actually sliced out 3 whole 16th notes here on the right side, giving it this effect. And then it comes back in stereo again here at the start of the bar. Then after that, the section continues on, and we've added a few 16th note sections there, which are actually the start of the first note of the riff as it comes back in again, because this is actually not part of the riff. It's been added in. And to do that, what you actually do is you take the actual guitar here that you want of that first note there and slice. In this particular case, we'll turn the grid on, slice at the start of the note that you want, and then on the 16th section there, and then basically you'll just duplicate this and put it, in this case we'll just make sure it's going to slide in there, and then again here, and it will give you the started sound. Now, as much as I, generally speaking, try to not include exactly the same part there from that note, in this case, you've noticed that it kind of still will work. A really cool way that you can, you know, if you only have the one note, but you want to use a stuttering effect and you want it to sound a little bit less like it's a constant repetition as well, is if you do decide to actually do a slice like that, is what you'll do is you'll take this particular side, put it over here on the right side, take it from the left and put it on the right, and take the right side and put it over to the left side. And then when you repeat this section again, you'll take the opposite and split it back around again. So it's basically flipping the sides over and giving you the illusion of a new take, even though you're actually utilizing the same take over and over again. After a while, you use it too many times and it's not going to sound necessarily like it's the same take, but after like it's a new fresh take, but you can do it a few times. So, and all of this slicing as well that's been done for all of these sections here has basically been utilizing, following along with the grid and utilizing 16 or 32-second note parts there to get creative with it and create this part. It continues on. And that's actually the riff. So that there's no slicing in there. That's just editing to put it in time. And the riff continues on to here and stops here. And then this is a tail riff that continues on where everything is just as the part is normally. And then at the end here, we've got a 16th note stutter of the same note over and over again. Basically sounds like a machine gun. So all together, put together with the song, sounds like this. It's pretty cool, it's pretty fun, and you can definitely get very creative with it. So there you have it. 3 quick tips that you can use to play around with your guitars in your productions, make them sound different, make them sound special, and most importantly, have fun. I'm a particular fan of trying out the one with VocalSynth. I'm curious as to whether or not you're actually going to do that in your productions. If you do, please show me. I'd love to hear how you did it. I'm thinking about making a future video using VocalSynth, so if you've got any things that you'd like to hear or you'd like me to do, please let me know. Also, don't forget we've got that free vocal production course available. But for now, take it easy.